Good morning, wrestling fans. Today is Thursday, June 13th, 2024. I am Lance Brock. Hope everyone is having a great Thursday morning so far. Unfortunately, I did miss a new episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic last night, talking about last night's AEW Dynamite. But on this Thursday morning episode of GMWF, I am going to do a quick recap of last night's Dynamite. Also, before we get into Dynamite, yesterday's episode of WWE Speed, we saw Tommaso Ciampa Andrade El Idolo defeat Tommaso Ciampa in the semifinals of WWE Speed to advance to face the WWE Speed champion Ricochet. Of course, the match where Ricochet dropped the Speed Championship was taped before this past Monday night, where he was ridden off TV and destroyed by Braun Breaker in the back. So I'm guessing maybe tomorrow, or if not next Wednesday, on WWE Speed will be Andrade El Idolo versus Ricochet for the WWE Speed Championship. And this week's match, Andrade versus Tommaso Ciampa, don't get me wrong, was a pretty good match. But to me anyway, it kind of, I wouldn't say a real slow match, but compared to all the other Speed matches we have seen so far in the short history of the show, was kind of more of the slowest paced matches, which doesn't necessarily mean it's slow, but compared to the other ones, it was a little slower. But still, very good match. And like I always say every week, I definitely recommend going on X and watching WWE Speed. It's just a few minutes. And I actually am a big fan of the show. And now, let's go on over to TBS for AEW Dynamite. And Dynamite was live last night at the Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, Iowa. Our commentators for the show, Tony Schiavone, Excalibur, and the Human Suplex Machine, Taz. We start off in the ring, and with the AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland, and he talks about his challenger for the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, Will Ospreay. He calls him a fighting champion, unlike our EVPs. And then that brings out the Elite, the Young Bucks, Kazuchika Okada, and Jack Perry. And they go to attack Swerve in the ring. But then we see the fallen angel Christopher Daniels, the interim executive EVP, he comes out and he clears everyone from the ring, and he says, we're going to start off Dynamite with a qualifying match for the TNT Championship ladder match at Forbidden Door. And he makes everybody leave except Jack Perry, who is in that match. And it's time for our first match of the evening on Dynamite this week. The Scapegoat Jack Perry taking on the Natural Dustin Rhodes. Real quick into this match, Dustin Rhodes gets busted open. Is a bloody mess. Pretty good match here. Jack Perry getting the win over Dustin. 10 minutes, 5 seconds. And then we have Rush defeating Dion Roosman. 1 minute, 30 seconds. I was wrong on Good Morning Wrestling Fans when I previewed Dynamite. I thought it was going to be Rush and MJF. That was not the case. But it will be taking place next week on Dynamite. It will open the show. Will also be commercial free. Rush versus MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. That is next week on Dynamite. And we had a trios match, a trios match, sorry. We had Roderick Strong teaming with the Don Callis family, Konosuke Takeshita, and Kyle Fletcher, taking on freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, and Mark Briscoe. 13 minutes, 3 seconds. Strong and the Don Callis family get the win in this one. Then after the match, the heels have the advantage, and it looks like Willow Nightingale is going to come to the ring and make the save for her new friend Orange Cassidy. But then at this time, she is attacked on the stage by Chris Statlander along with Stokely Hathaway. They leave her laying on the stage. Stokely takes a picture of Willow laid out. And then we have possibly a new trios team. Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata. Joe and Hook are in action, and they take on the premier athletes, Arya Daivari and Tony Nese, with Shibata as their personal cameraman recording this. Joe and Hook get the win over Daivari and Nese, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. The AEW TBS Championship is on the line. The CEO, Mercedes Moné, defeats Zeus to retain the AEW TBS Championship. And it is now official for sure that Mercedes Moné will be defending the AEW TBS Championship at Forbidden Door. Daniel Garcia defeated Nick Comoroto. And in the main event of Dynamite this week, the AEW TBS Championship, or AEW World Heavyweight, I can't even say anything right. The AEW International Championship is on the line. The aerial assassin Will Ospreay defeats Rey Fenix. 15 minutes, 12 seconds. Good main event. And then we see at ringside during the match the AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland, and after he gets in the ring, has some words for Will Ospreay leading into their match. June 29th at Forbidden Door on pay-per-view. So that was AEW Dynamite last night. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good episode. Had some good wrestling on the show as we get closer to Forbidden Door. In the comment section, you can go there right now and let me know your thoughts and your comments on last night's episode of Dynamite. Or if you just want to talk anything pro wrestling, you can in the comment section, either right here on Spreaker, YouTube, or wherever you listen to 360 Wrestling Podcasts at. Coming up tomorrow night, we have our regularly pro wrestling Friday night schedule with WWE Friday Night SmackDown and AEW Rampage. Also tomorrow night is TNA Against All Odds on TNA Plus. So we're going to have about 6 hours of pro wrestling tomorrow night. And then Saturday, WWE Clash at the Castle Premium Live event, 2 p.m. Eastern. But that is all for this Thursday morning episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans. I will be back tomorrow for the Friday episode. Thank you for everyone tuning in today, and I apologize as it gets a little windy now. Hopefully you can still hear me over this wind. I will talk to everyone tomorrow, and I hope you can all join me. Until then, have a great pro wrestling day.